This is a condensed version of what I call my Monday Night Yin. I taught this class on Monday nights for 5 years. It's not a typical Yin class. It's full body. There's still some fluidity with a slow pace. Some of the postures will hold a little longer in the 2 to 3 minute mark. You'll need 2 blocks and a blanket, and we'll get started lying on our backs in a comfortable position. We'll be there for the first few minutes, so just make sure you're in a position that you're most comfortable in. So I'm starting in a reclined cobbler's pose, soles of the feet together, knees open, but you can be in any other comfortable position. Softly close the windows of your eyes. Let's start by stopping. As you settle in here, just check in with yourself. Notice the racing mind. And whatever point in the day that you're in, let go of what's happened already and let go of any distraction of what's to come for the rest of the day. Notice the ebb and flow of your breath. Really organically, naturally allowing the breath to deepen, to elongate. And notice that the connection to your breath is like an anchor in your practice for your mind, for your attention. Notice any physical tension, rigidity, or muscular effort you're holding on to here. And with the next few exhales, soften any of that tension, rigidity, muscular effort. Notice here if you can layer in any other intention for your practice. It can be a single word, it can be an affirmation. Take another couple cycles of breath here. And then we'll take the next few moments to transition into lying on our sides. If you're in a cobbler's pose, use the hands to guide the soles of the feet back down onto the mat. Just take some care to make that transition. No rush to get there. And once you're there, just take a moment on your side. Pressing yourself all the way up. And finding a comfortable seated position. So I'm going to use the blanket folded underneath. Bring your arms by your side, take a nice deep inhale, reach all the way up. And as you exhale, press the hands to your center. Inhale, fill the lungs and reach. Exhale, pressing. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Bring the right palm off to the side, sweep the left arm up and over. Just get a nice stretch into the side body there. Bend into your right elbow as much as you need. And then nice windmill in the arms, switch sides. Stretch, reach that right arm up and over. And then come all the way up. If you're in Sukhasana or easy seat, maybe just switch which leg is in front. And we'll take a gentle seated twist. So let's rotate to the right. Your hands can be where it feels comfortable. Bring that rotation into your head and your neck. And then as you exhale, de-rotate, second side, rotate, bring it into the head and neck. Exhale, de-rotate back to center. Take some rib cage circles. So you're going to circle the base of your rib cage around the rim of your pelvis. And then reverse the flow. These can be as big or small as you need them to be. And circling back to center. From seated, come into tabletop position. We'll be spending some time on our knees, so you might want the softer surface of your blanket under your knees. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips, neutral spine. Let's take a few rounds of cat-cow. Letting go of your exhale. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the sitting bones, extension in the spine, open the throat. As you exhale, tuck the chin, also tuck the toes under, press the floor away from your hands, release the crown of your head. Inhale, drop the feet, feel the articulation of each vertebrae in your spine. Exhale, tuck the chin and the toes, round the back, flexing the spine. One more set, inhale. Exhale. Coming back to center, to neutral. Shoulder circles, right arm sweeps forward and up. So you're gonna slow down the back half. Resist the urge to move quickly through that back half where most of the resistance is. And then left side. Inhale, sweep forward, up and back. Slowing it down. Finding child's pose, any variation. 5 deep breaths. And just starting to make your way back up. Reset your alignment, reset your knees, grab a hold of your blocks. We'll move through a low lunge sequence. So stepping the right foot forward, settling into a low lunge. But you're not sinking as deeply as you can into the hips. Add some extension into the spine. Now let's rock back. Slide the blocks back. Keep the top of the foot, keep the sole of the foot anchored into the mat, stretching the top of the foot, the top of the ankle. And then come forward, low lunge, extend the spine. Inhale, come back. This time, lift the sole of the foot. And then come forward, low lunge. So we'll take this flow a few times. You can continue to slide the blocks back or you can keep them forward, whichever feels more comfortable more supportive for you. Last one. And we'll come back into the runner stretch. You're gonna pause there. Drop your outer right hip just a little bit. You can keep the hands on the blocks. You can lift them up onto the hips, or you can reach the arms up. Gentle lean forward. Notice that flexion comes from your hips, not your waist. Good, rise back up, bring your hands back to the blocks. Ground the sole of the right foot, bring the left block forward, and then heel toe the right foot to the outer edge of your mat. Bring both blocks in center under your chest. There's lots of steps in this variation or in this sequence. Just go as far as feels right in your body. Toes draw out 45 degrees. Take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, roll to the outer edge of that right foot. So just feel that in the adductors. Notice that stretch as the knee moves away from the torso. So again, either stay here or you're gonna lower down onto your forearms, maybe changing the height of the blocks or removing the blocks. Keeping the back knee grounded onto the mat, or curling the back toes under and pressing the back knee up. Ground down through the points of connection that you have into the floor. And then exhale, lowering that back knee if it's lifted, connecting the top of the foot, pressing up. Keep the right leg just as it is. Sweep the right arm forward, up and back. You can either reach with that right arm or grab a hold of the top of your left foot to get a nice deep quad stretch. Releasing the top of the foot. Circle that right arm all the way back down. Connecting the sole of the foot back to the mat, drawing the toes forward. Heel toe the right foot back in. Frame your right foot with your blocks. Bring your right knee down to meet your left. And before switching sides, just tune in, feel right side to left. And then left leg forward. So we're gonna slowly settle into the low lunge. You're not sinking as heavily as you can into the hips. Let's come back, slide the blocks back. Keep the sole of the left foot anchored into the mat. Get a nice stretch in the top of the foot, front of the ankle, lower leg. And then come forward again. Soften into the hips, extend into the spine, open the throat. Coming back. Now lifting the heel or lifting the sole of the foot. Stay anchored on the heel. And come forward. So you're gonna rock through this flow a few times, back and forth to your pace. You might keep the blocks sliding back with you, or you might keep them anchored where they are, framing that left foot. Connect the breath to the motion, motion to the breath. One more. And then make your way back into a runner's lunge. So bring the blocks back, lift the sole of the foot, outer left hip just gently draws down. You can keep the hands on the blocks, you can bring the hands to the hips, or you can reach the arms up. Add in a little bit of a forward fold. Some gentle flexion at the hips, not the waist. Keep a neutral spine. Coming back up, lower the hands to the blocks. Ground the sole of the left foot. You'll bring the right block forward, heel to the left foot to the outer edge of the mat, both blocks in center. So stay or stick with any one of these variations offered. Draw the left toes out 45 degrees, take a nice deep breath in. And then exhale, roll to the outer edge of that left foot. So you might stay here, or you might lower the height of the blocks. You might stay up onto the hands, or you might lower down onto the forearms, block or no blocks. Stay here or curl the back toes under. Press the back knee up. If the back knee is lifted, lower it back down. Connect the top of the foot. Bring the hands back to the blocks. Sweep the left arm forward, up and back. And either stay here or come into the quad stretch. Grab the top of your right foot with your left hand. Then release that right foot, sweep that left arm all the way back. Ground the sole of your left foot, draw the toes forward, heel toe back in. Bring the hips, the pelvis back in space, lower that left knee. Come back into a child's pose. Any variation. So I'm gonna keep my knees closer together here, my arms alongside, and then grounding my forehead. Heavy through the shoulders, 3 breaths. Curling up from child's pose. Let's find a downward facing dog. Reset your alignment, press up and back. If the blanket is on your mat, slide it to the side. You're gonna raise the right leg up, knee to chest. Draw the right knee out, foot in, lower the right shin and the left knee. We're setting up for pigeon pose. Look over the left shoulder, extend the left leg directly behind you. You might want to place some support underneath that right seat, so block or blanket. Notice that your positioning feels right. Doesn't matter if your shin is parallel to the mat, just a comfortable position with that front leg. Find some length and then hinge forward. So it might just be a lean forward. It might be forearms. You might even use the blocks for a little more height. Or maybe you'll reach all the way forward with straight arms and your forehead connected to the mat. Notice that you're not moving habitually in your practice at all. So even if pigeon pose is a pose that you do frequently, the transition into the pose, I like to be slow. So you can just check in with what angle, what shape, what variation you need in the present moment. And with that, notice the anchor of your breath. Maybe with a little bit of more time in the pose, you change the variation. It might be a little higher, might be a little lower. Soften any tension in your jaw. An optional variation from here is aligning the left forearm to be parallel to the short edge of your mat, sweeping the right arm around behind and connecting the top of your right hand to the outer left hip. Adding a little bit of rotation here to the right. Exhale, derotate. Mindfully make your way back up onto the hands. If you have any props underneath you, remove them. Curl your back toes in, maybe walk the back knee in. And then in one motion, on your exhale, step that right leg back. Inhale, raise your left leg up. Draw the knee into the chest, knee out, foot in. Lower the left shin and your right knee. Look over the right shoulder and walk the right leg back. Just notice here, reposition as much as you need. Maybe place a block or your blanket underneath that left seat. Find some length and really take your time to find the variation in the pose that you need to be in. Maybe it's just a little lean forward, perhaps forearms, maybe even with the blocks. Reaching the arms forward, connecting the forehead to the block or to the mat. Again, not moving habitually, using the anchoring of the breath for your awareness. Notice if you need to change the variation you're in, maybe a little higher, maybe a little lower, slightly different positioning with the blocks, the arms, the hands. And then an optional variation from here, bring the right forearm to be parallel to the short edge of your mat. Sweep the left arm up and around, connecting the top of the hands to the outer right hip. Any amount of rotation to the left in the spine. Derotate, unwind, come back to center. Take your time to make your way back up onto the hands. Remove any props that you're using that are underneath you. Curl the back toes under, walk that back knee in a couple of times. And then in one motion, on your exhale, step back into downward facing dog. Come forward into plank. Lower the knees, come all the way down into a prone position. Just stack the hands, bring the forehead to your hands. 3 deep breaths. Lifting the forehead from the hands. Coming up onto your elbows and forearms. So the forearms are parallel, the elbows are under your shoulders. Let's round the back, tuck the chin in, lift the pelvis, press the floor away from your forearms. And then as you start to lower down, good, once the pubic bone connects, Lift the kneecaps away from the floor. Keep the engagement in the lower abdomen. And then make your way into Sphinx pose. So nice even amount of extension in the spine. You're pressing up out of the shoulders, broadening across the collarbones. Looking where it feels comfortable, beneficial for your neck. One more inhale. And then exhale, lower down. Stack the hands, elbows to the side, forehead to the hands. Bend your knees. We'll do a round of shin jive. Feet out to the sides and then cross at the shins. Out to the side, opposite cross of the shins. Keep flowing through that. Last one. And extending the legs back behind you, palms alongside. Lift up, knees together, hips over to one side, legs in front. Janu Shirshasana, bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of the left leg. If the knee is higher than the hip, you can place a block underneath your knee. You could also bend the left knee as much as you need to. Reaching up, hinge forward. Hands land wherever it's accessible on your left leg. Bringing the palms under the shoulders, pressing up. Using your hand to guide the knee in. Let's switch sides. Maybe use the block under the knee if the knee is higher than the hip. Perhaps even bending that right knee if you need, especially checking in with your posture. So if it's challenging to sit on the floor with a tall neutral spine, then give yourself a little more space with the bend in the knee. Reaching up. And forward fold. Connect to the anchoring of your breath, that ebb and flow. And the palms under the shoulders rise all the way up. Use the left hand to guide the knee in. Scoot yourself forward. Come to lying on your back and have your props accessible. Give the shoulder blades a little tuck. Ankles under the knees, feet about 2 fist widths apart. We'll come into supported bridge. So you can work with low height of the block, medium height of the block, or all the way up to the high height of the block. The positioning is under the sacrum, base of the spine, that triangular bone. Giving the arms a little more of a tuck. Notice here in supported bridge that you're tuning into the belly rising as you inhale and falling as you exhale. One more abdominal breath. And let's transfer down to the low height of the block, but we'll bring the block back about an inch. So towards the lower back, an inch. Arms by your side, elevate the legs. Not often are legs, our pelvis elevated above the heart and the face. Connect to and feel the reverse flow of your blood and lymphatic fluid. That works into the parasympathetic nervous system, rest and digest. Starting to bend the knees, pause it about halfway. Lowering each foot down one at a time. Take a full body stretch with the pelvis elevated. And as you exhale, soften the stretch. Bend the knees each one at a time. Lift the pelvis just enough to remove the block. Lower all the way down. Then take some windshield wipers side to side. So feet mat width, arms in a cactus shape. Roll to the inner and outer edges of the feet. One more set. And then come into the most comfortable variation of Shavasana you can find. Doesn't need to be lying on your back in corpse pose. It can be side lying, prone lying, wherever you feel the most comfortable. Just notice yourself sinking into stillness, tuning into the connection of the back body into the earth, the connection through the front body up to the sky. A greater sense of calm within. Take as much time as you need in Shavasana. Thank you so much for joining me for my Monday Night Yin. Namaste.